Do you think Big Meech like told on somebody to get out, snitched, did anything extra?
No. Let me tell you why. Big Meech's paperwork is public records. There is no proof that Big Meech said, hey, bust him. So Big Meech, bro, I ain't gonna lie, that man got to that compound and man, he had some of the guys I would never think that would get BMF, ENT on the left side of their neck, man.
But I'm in here with a 27-year sentence based on Demetrius Flannery, as you all know as Big Meech, and Tammy Collins, known in the paperwork as CS1.
Right.
Confidential source 1. So what Big Meech did was call a third-party cooperation.
Tammy Cohen is a government informant. So they told me, and he says, you know what this is about? And I said, no. He said, well, you threatened a government informant, and that's a federal.
So Taryn Gangster Williams, who is locked up with Big Meech, is coming forward and shutting down 50 Cent's claims that Meech snitched gangsta, is also speaking out on how Meech ran the whole prison and had respect from every inmate. And this is a game changer, because now people are questioning Fiddy's whole narrative about Meech being a rat. So was Meech really working with the feds? Or is Fiddy just throwing dirt on his name because he's salty over Meech linking up with Rick Ross? What exactly did Gangster reveal about Meech's time in prison? Let's break it down.
You see, you know, it's selective politics and it's selective who they gonna call a rat or who they not gonna call a rat in this industry. So we've been saying that since I've been home.
An interview with New Orleans street figure Terrence Gangster Williams just resurfaced, where he opened up about how Big Meech was running the show in prison gangsta. Said Meech had all the men following him like he was a leader. And according to Ganga, Meech was the type of dude who could get the keys to any yard he landed on. Basically, he had that much influence without even trying.
Big Meech, bro, I ain't gonna lie, that man got to that compound and man, he had some of the guys I would never think that would get BMF, ENT on the left side of their neck, man. It was tattooed, and he made it clear, he said, listen, I'm not giving nobody no connect, I'm not hooking nobody up with nothing, I'm not doing nothing when y'all go home. So in other words, you know, people try to get with him just for, you know, the games, you know, for me to let it be known, look, I ain't got nothing, nobody. I'm in jail doing my bid, that's what it is, you know what I'm saying? So, man, bro, I literally remember 25 guys at the lunch will go to that rec yard with Big Meech, they gonna take over the weight power, they gonna work out, they gonna hit the weights, do their little workout, and then after that, Big Meech gonna, whoever got the wine, he gonna bottle the wine up, whoever cooking food, he gonna bottle the food up, and he gonna sit in the cell or hang out and just talk war stories, just talk about on the streets, man. He was a very good, humble dude, man. Very humble dude.
What's even crazier is that despite having the chance to escape and go back to a life of millions before the feds got him, Meech chose to serve his time. Now, we'll get into that escape opportunity a little later. But first, let's talk about what Gangs has said about those snitching allegations against Meech. So as you all know, FYSN has publicly accused Meech of being a federal informant through his former associate Tammy Collins. However, when Gangsta was recently asked about Fitt's claims, he said he doubts Meech Cooper. And not only that, but Gangsta hinted that industry people like Fitty are hypocrites for picking and choosing who they label a snitch.
Do you think Big Meech like told on somebody to get out, snitched, did anything extra?
No. Let me tell you why. Big Meech's paperwork is public records. There is no proof that Big Meech said, hey, bust him. Now, the situation with the lady Tammy, the female that he cool with or whatever, mess with whatever, I was having an argument with somebody about this last night. Now, if we go by prison rules and standards, Big Meech didn't sit down with the agents and say, hey, my bro gonna go ahead and settle a boy up for me, so make sure y'all give me the credit. So we couldn't make a move on him because his name not in the paperwork for saying authorized.
Now, to understand where all these snitching allegations even came from, we need to look back at the rise and fall of BMF, which ultimately led to Meech getting sentenced to 30 years behind bars. And the wildest part is that there was a moment when Meech even had the opportunity to escape the country and avoid serving time. But instead of running, Meech chose to stay and face the consequences. That decision earned him major respect. But it also set the stage for the drama we're seeing today, including these snitching rumors that Fit is now pushing. But let's start from the beginning. The Black Mafia family was a criminal organization founded in 1985 in southwest Detroit by brothers Demetrius, Big Meech, Benny, and Terry.
Everybody's shining like new money. It ain't no other crew like this in the world, and there never will be another one. Not black, it never will be, because they said that if like this is shining all together, being together, doing every day, then they gonna fall out over some money or somebody gonna rob, steal, and kill. I have yet to see that. All of us get along with money.
By the early 2000s, the BMF had the streets and the clubs unlock, using a flashy entertainment empire as their front. And at their peak, the organization had 500 members, making power moves all over the US.
Every place we stay at, LA, Atlanta, Detroit, we have homes, our own homes. We don't have to go in and rent. We got our own houses, we got our own cars, we got our own hoes, we got our own clothes. You know what I'm saying? And we can't be stopped. I don't see nobody stop. I don't see none to come after us either. None. Nobody will never do this again, because this many and this much money can't get along.
But Big Meech and Southwest T didn't just rise to the top. They fought for it, surviving turf wars, territorial takeovers, and losing people along the way. Back in the late 80s, T took a bullet to the right eye, leaving him partially blind for life. As for Meech, he was shot on 2 separate occasions, once in the neck outside a Chinese spot in the 80s, and again in 04 outside an Atlanta club, when he got hit in his behind. That second shooting started after an altercation with Anthony Wolf, Jones Diddy's former bodyguard. And while Meech made it out with minor injuries, Wolf and another man were shot dead.
So we were in Club Chaos this particular night, and one of Meech's friends, Wolf, was there. So Wolf and Meech knew each other because he was Puffy's ex-bodyguard, and Puffy and Meech were close. Wolf sees his ex-girlfriend, but she's not with Meech, you know, she's standing on the back wall. Wolf reaches past Meech and mushes her, and Meech was like, nah, that's not going down. Whatever y'all got going on, you can handle that privately with her. But if she's standing here with me, I can't have you disrespect her like that.
That led to verbal altercation, physical altercation, which led to Wolf Jones ejected from the club. Demetrius and his bodyguard, Bull Height, were on their way to their vehicle when they encountered Wolf Jones and Riz Gertie waiting for them with guns drawn. Wolf Jones started shooting.
All hell broke loose. Gunfire was coming from everywhere.
Police aren't sure what triggered the violence, but witnesses say dozens of bullets flew near the intersection of East Paces Ferry and Bowling Way.
We all meet up at the house, and it's still not a big deal. You know, Meech is actually leaning on the counter laughing because we're drunk as hell. He's like, man, Yogi, my ass is burning. I'm like, what? He's like, man, I think I got shot in the ass. And sure enough, he got shot in the ass.
But beyond the illegal substances, empire, and street politics, BMF was all about living large. We're talking 13 multi-million-dollar mansions across the country, fleets of luxury foreign cars, closets dripping in designer from head to toe, and a VIP pass to Jacob, the jeweler's most iced-out pieces.
Meech chartered a commercial flight for hundreds of people, and Meech paid for everybody. It was a full-on party in the sky.
Have you seen the movie Soul Plane? It was like Soul Plane.
Yeah, it's good. Got the mom support 100%. Okay, wrong with that.
Meech had everything set up. Everything was set up for us to party.
Give me one of these, man. Big dog, what's up, baby? Hey, just chilling like a building in Mexico, man. You know how we do it, big.
Now Meech always preached that BMF was built on brotherhood. But at the height of their reign, family ties started to unravel. The sibling rivalry between him and Southwest T turned into a power struggle, with members recalling how even the smallest disagreements would turn into heated public blowouts. Neither brother was willing to take a back seat, and Meech even accused T of stealing from the organization.
One day I found out that T was cutting our dope. T was taking 4 ounces out of each key.
He would take 100 bricks and make an extra 20 bricks out of it. He got to break everything down, repress it, put it back together. I never done that. He done went about to work with my money and his money, and then he repressing my brick.
Meech wasn't feeling that, and I wasn't feeling it. So, Meech told me and Wayne, they're not finna keep stealing from us, giving us this bad dope. Y'all go deal straight with our supplier, Green Eyes, from him.
At the height of BMF's reign, Meech and T decided to split the operation. T relocated to LA to stay plugged in with the Mexican connection, while Meech took over Atlanta, keeping the streets hot and the clubs even hotter. But with the empire divided, the BMF crew started choosing sides, setting the stage for the downfall of the whole operation. In 2000, Meech set his sights on the music game, launching BMF Entertainment. With his flashy lifestyle and magnetic energy, he fit right into hip-hop's world of money, power, and spectacle. BMF wasn't just a street empire anymore. It was the hottest new movement in the rap industry. Around this time, all future major players in the rap industry were hanging around: Meech, Diddy, Jay-Z.
Jay-Z had I want to say a sky blue or champagne Maybach, and this is when they first came out. Meech drove up in 2 Maybachs. He pulled the Maybachs up, and I don't know if he purposefully did it or whatever the case may be, but he pulled them in order to block in Jay's Maybach. You know, Meech was always friends with Diddy. Like, that's his boy. You know what I mean? That was always his boy. So I think for Meech, it was sort of trying to assert his presence, so that he wanted to make it so that Jay had to speak to him in order to get the cars moved or whatever. But it wasn't no beef at all. It was just sort of that I'm rich too, and I'm street rich for real.
Another one of the most legendary BMF stories floating around is Big Meech's Wildla-themed birthday party at Magic City, where he took flexing to a whole other level by bringing 2 white tigers right into the club.
They was there when it was changing.
Exactly.
And they caught it. Okay, we're gonna do this party. We're gonna have the tigers and the lions and you know what I'm saying, elephants and stuff, all you know, like we never seen that type of stuff. Like you can say what you wanna say, you know what I'm saying, about, but that type of stuff you only seen in movies, and you didn't even see that in movies. Yeah. Like for real, not no black people really doing it like that. You know what I mean? So from here to Miami, Cancun, renting out the whole jet. You know, it's stuff that people still ain't doing to this day.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, Meech Southwest T's decision to run things separately helped BMF expand, but their growing tension played a major role in their downfall. T wasn't feeling Mech's flashy lifestyle and started venting about it to family and friends. What he didn't know, though, is that the feds had him on wiretaps the whole time. Meanwhile, Meech kept living like a king, throwing over-the-top parties, where he blew millions in one night. But what he didn't know is that some of those people in the crowd at his parties were undercover law enforcement, watching his every move and waiting for the perfect time to take him down. So, after 15 long years of investigation by federal and local task forces, including the IRS, the feds finally made their move with over 900 pages of wiretaps, informant statements, seized financial records, and round-the-clock surveillance. They had all the evidence they needed, and in 2005, they pulled the trigger. Big Meech and Southwest, he were both taken down on drug and racketeering charges in a series of orchestrated raids. T was arrested in St. Louis, while Meech was seized in Frisco, Texas, and they didn't go down alone. 150 BMF affiliates were scooped up too.
U.S. Marshals say this man, one of Atlanta Police Department's top 10 most wanted and a member of an organized crime family, is now behind bars. U.S. Marshals tell me they arrested 37-year-old Ernest Dennis and 40-year-old Jonathan Manigo here outside a Buckhead hotel. Both men, they say, are members of the so-called Black Mafia family, or BMF.
Anyone tied to BMF typically has an extensive criminal history, so we consider them to be very violent.
Investigators say the organization BMF is heavily involved in drug trafficking and has been in Atlanta at least since 2004. At that time, federal agents seized this limo with secret compartments that had almost $1 million hidden inside.
But even before the raid went down, BMF knew what was coming. While Southwest T got snatched first, Big Meech had a chance to skip town and escape to Mexico to avoid the feds. However, he refused to leave the country, and instead he went first to Miami, and then to Frisco, where he was eventually caught.
I couldn't do it. If I was for self, I could have did that. I could have grabbed a bunch of millions and been on somewhere where you can't be extradited. But that wasn't what I was out for. I was out. I've already played the illegal game to the fullest, so now I was trying to legitimize me and the whole family. I mean, I was 37 years old when I got picked up, so I was slowing down anyway, as far as I was getting kind of tired. But when you the face of the family, that's the one thing that I was starting to learn. Even at 37 years old, even though I'm feeling old because I've been doing it so long, like I was getting kind of tired. You know me, I'm popping pills, smoking weed, drinking, and partying, freaking, getting money, got whips going up and down the road. I'm doing everything to try to make this family successful, and everything we do look big.
And when the feds made their move, they didn't just grab the Fleener brothers. They took down their family too, including their dad, sister, and girlfriends, because their names were on the titles of homes and businesses used to launder money. The DA later used this to pressure the brothers into cooperating, offering to let their family off if Mech and T took full responsibility for the whole operation. And that's exactly what they did. The DA hit the Black Mafia family hard, going after the Fleener brothers under the continuing criminal enterprise statute. Both Big Meech and Southwest T pleaded guilty and were sentenced to 30 years in federal prison. Southwest, he got out of prison in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and was ordered to serve the rest of his sentence on house arrest. Meanwhile, Big Meech didn't get that same break, and he was denied compassionate release for health reasons during the pandemic. And then finally in October 2024, after 2 decades in prison, Big Meech was released from prison and ordered to finish his sentence at a halfway house.
Demetrius Flannery and his brother Terry ran one of the country's largest operations during the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. The pair had hundreds of employees, generated hundreds of millions of dollars, and even had a successful record label and magazine. But in 2006, the brothers were indicted in a federal RICO case originating out of Georgia.
BMF was the first group that was accused of being both a criminal organization and a record label.
Attorney Josh Schiffers says Demetrius, also known as Big Meech, is highly regarded because he never took a deal or snitched on his co-conspirators.
And he went down. And when he went down, he and his brother were sentenced to 30 years in prison.
In 2020, Terry Flannery was released, and just this week, Big Meech was released from prison. He will serve the remainder of his sentence at a halfway house in Miami.
During the Fleener brothers' stint in prison, the Black Mafia family turned into a cultural legend, and their name was kept alive through music, fashion, and interviews. 5 years after the Fairies got locked up, Big Meech's story turned into a full-blown pop culture sensation. It all started with the book BMF, The Rise and Fall of Big Meech and the Black Mafia Family, by Mara Shalo, released in 2010. That same year, Rick Ross released his hit single BMF, blowing money fast, glorifying Me's lavish lifestyle. And by 2020, off the strength of BMF's cultural power, FY Cent and Stars dropped a series based on the Empire's rise, with Lil Meech, Big Meech's son, making his acting debut playing documentary Blowing Money Fast in 2022. And then in 2023, Feidi announced that the BMF cinematic universe was expanding with 3 spin-off shows and a 3rd season in the making. However, everything came crashing down because of one photo when Big Meech linked up with Rick Ross shortly after his release from prison. The photo went viral, sparking ongoing beef between Feidi and Meech, and Feidi didn't hold back, accusing Meech of snitching and announcing the end of the BMF show. Now, as for Meech, he's refusing to engage in a back and forth with Feidi. However, he did address the snitching allegations and claimed he never told on anyone in his life.